Writing test cases using the tool for the login page, a demo application that I have created to explain the fields step by step. In my last video, I explained how to identify the scenario and create the test titles based on that. First, I created a few titles and documented them on the Jira tool using the Zephyr scale. And now in this video, I will show how to write test steps or the test scripts for each of the test names or the titles which I have already documented. As you see here, there are 7 scenario-based titles of the demo application. That is the login page that I have created. You may simply go back to the previous video before you write down the test steps for these titles or the names of the test cases. And now in this video, I will show you how to write test steps or the test scripts for each of the test names or the titles which I have already documented. As you see, this is an example of a login page. In order to log in, we need to be registered users, right? And then we enter our email and password and then click on the login button. And also you see on this page, there is a way to go to the sign up page. That is a sign up link given below. This means that if someone clicks on this link, it should take the user to the sign up page, right? So these are the few things on this page that we need to test. And I'm going to write down a few basic test cases for these fields on the Jira tool. So now quickly jump back to the project. Let's go through the titles and select the first test case that we have created. The first test case is to verify login with valid email and password. I'm going to edit this precondition because I just wanted to document this step, that is login page is open, as my first test step. So I'm editing this part from here and keeping just the already registered user. Now let's click on test scripts and begin to write our test steps. Step 1 is to open the login page. The expected result should be that the login page opened successfully. Step 2, enter a valid email. The expected result should be that the placeholder is removed and you should be able to enter your valid email. Step 3, enter a valid password. The expected result is that the password is encrypted. You should be able to enter a valid password. And lastly, click on Login. The expected result should be that the login is successful. You should be redirected to the home page of the application. Make sure to save once you have documented. The test data section in the Jira tool is a place where you can specify the input data and expected output for your test cases. You can also use variables and parameters to make your test data reusable and dynamic. For login page testing, you may write, for example, for valid test cases, use the valid data, that is valid email ID, that is for a registered user with a valid email, and valid password for a registered user with a valid password, for example, and so on. Next, move on to the test case number 2, that is to verify login with an empty email field. The precondition would be the same, that is already registered user. Make sure to save, then click on the test scripts. The first step is the same, that is open the login page. And the expected result should be that login page opened successfully. In step 2, we will write leave the email field empty. Step 3, enter a valid password. And the expected result would be that the password is encrypted. You should be able to enter a valid password. Lastly, click on login. The expected result would be that login is unsuccessful. An error message appears that says, please enter a valid email. This field cannot be left empty. Make sure to save and then return back to the test cases. Next, move on to the test case number 3, that is to verify login with an empty password field. The precondition would be the same, that is already registered user. Next, click on the test script again and make sure to save in between so that you don't lose anything that you documented so far. As you see that I have already written and documented the test steps for this test case. The first step is the same, that is open the login page, and the expected result should be that login page opened successfully. Step 2, enter a valid email. The expected result should be that the placeholder is removed and you should be able to enter your valid email. Step 3, leave the password field empty. And lastly, click on Login. The expected result would be that the login is unsuccessful. An error message appears that says, please enter a valid password. This field cannot be left empty. Moving forward to test case number 4, that is to verify login with an invalid email, that is not registered email. Just click on the name or the title, and here you see that the precondition is different from other test cases. Here, the precondition would be that the user has an email that is not registered in the application. So it is considered as an invalid email. Now let's quickly check the test scripts that I have already documented for this test case. As I mentioned, an invalid email on the login page means that the email is not registered or may be mistaken, right? And for this test case, I am taking an example of a not registered email, which means this email is the wrong email and was not used during the registration process for this application. The first step is the same, that is open the login page, and so the expected result should be that the login page opened successfully. The next step is to enter an invalid email. The expected result is that the placeholder is removed. You should be able to enter an invalid email. Next, enter a valid password. The expected result would be that the password is encrypted. You should be able to enter a valid password. And lastly, click on Login. The expected result is that the login is not successful and an error message appears that says please enter a valid email or register to log in. Test case number 5, that is to verify login with an invalid password. Here the precondition is like before, that is the user has to be a registered user. For the test steps we will write open the login page. The expected result is that the login page opened successfully. Next, enter a valid email. The expected result would be that the placeholder should be removed and you should be able to enter a valid email. Next is entering an invalid password, which means entering a wrong password by mistake. So the expected result would be that the login is unsuccessful. An error message appears that says, please enter a valid password. Test case number 6, that is to verify navigation from login to sign up page. The precondition should be that the user should be a registered user. First step is to open the login page. The expected result would be that the login page opened successfully. And the next step is to navigate through the login page and check if there is any sign up link present or not. Then click on the sign up link and check if it redirects you to the sign up page or not. And that's the expected result. The link should take you to the sign up page on clicking on it. And the last test case is to verify testing login in landscape mode. In software testing, login in landscape mode is the process of verifying that the login functionality works correctly when the screen is rotated horizontally. This is important to ensure that the user interface adopts the different screen orientations and does not cause any errors or usability issues. The test steps and the precondition for verifying signing or the login in landscape mode may vary depending on the application and the testing tool, but a general outline could be something like this. Precondition: the application is installed on a device that supports landscape mode and has an internet connection. Test steps are launch the application and navigate to the sign in screen, that is, the login screen. Rotate the device to landscape mode and observe the screen layout. Verify that all the login elements are visible and aligned properly. Verify that the keyboard does not cover any important information or buttons. Enter valid credentials and tap on the login button. Verify that the login is successful and the user is redirected to the home screen. Rotate the device back to portrait mode and verify that the screen orientation changes accordingly. Like, share, and subscribe. Press the bell icon to get notified of my new uploads. Thank you for watching.